So as an entrepreneur, you're told to follow one simple playbook. You know, grind now, build your business, put in tons of hours, hoping to have a stash, you know, at the end when you retire, right? That's the ultimate guide that we've been told over and over again. So the question is, why does it have to take some extreme event like terminal illness or some death of a family for us to actually wake up and start living, you know, the life that we wanted, right? So back when I was working my 9 to 5, I've always thought about, you know, starting a business, right? Whenever the time is right. But we all know there's never a right time to start. But here's the surprising part. After I had built the freedom that I wanted, I caught myself slipping back into the business where I was working endless hours that, you know, I even forgot to take time off and truly enjoy the freedom that I wanted in the first place. So yeah, it took me 2 years to take my first vacation, my real first vacation, after I started my Amazon FBA business. And then that's when I stumbled upon this book, How to Die with Zero by Bill Perkins. And it had completely changed my mindset about my business, of course, the finance, and most importantly, spending every single ounce of my life into different perspective, and that's what we're going to talk about in this video. So currently out here in Mount Major in New Hampshire, taking a nice hike, and we're going to talk about the 3 lessons that you can take away from this book that can apply directly into your life, because you don't want to regret that one thing you could never get back. So the first takeaway from the book is Bill mentions and calls this time bucketing. So what he means by that is you want to bucket, you know, every 5 to 10 years of your life, you know, like say for example 20 to 25, then you got your 25 to 30, 30 to 40, so on and so forth, right? So this is a perfect example, because out here on a hike in Mount Major in New Hampshire, and you know, I'm currently 33. The concept of time bucketing is you want to do something like this. It's not a crazy hike, it's a moderate hike, because if you decide to do this when you're 60, you may be able to do it, right? With some help of like a walking stick or something, but you might not find it as enjoyable, you know? Your joints might start to hurt, or I don't know, you might stop halfway. That's one of the concepts of time bucketing, is reflecting of stuff that you can only do at the moment where you're at. So that's why it's really important to think about it, write it down, because some things you might not be able to do it, and one thing you don't want is to have that regret. And one of these time bucketing things actually would be, you know, starting a business, right? If you're a lot younger versus someone that's like married, have kids, it's easier for you, way easier for you to start a business, because you have a lot less to lose versus someone, you know, has a family, they might have a mortgage, they have all these other things they're responsible for, versus when you're younger, I mean, you know, you might have student loans, right? Like worst case scenario. But all you gotta do is worry about yourself. You might still be living at home, and you get to save that money and maybe reinvest it in that business that you're starting. So yeah, definitely a lot easier time bucketing that way when starting a business as well. And right now we might have just teleported on this part. We are in Newport, Rhode Island, on this beautiful, typical New England fall weather. Nice and cool versus where I'm based out in Florida, so it's a nice scenery. I grew up here in Boston, so used to come here all the time in the summer, and it's a lot different. Check the view out here. We are on the cliff walk. Got the ocean, and you got this cliff walk right here, and you can just go on around the island itself. Just beautiful. It's drizzling, but it's part of the charm. Look at those waves. Beautiful houses across, and we're just turning this to a vlog, and I wanted to take you guys with me to do something a bit different outside the office. But if I don't finish the video, I'll finish it at home, but at least I got to take you guys with me a little bit, because we still have 2 parts to talk over from the book. So here in Channel 4 forecast, is saying to get off autopilot because currently right now we are in a fall New England weather, but it's nice and cool. Now we have the whole cliff walk to ourselves. There's no one here and I can record this video, get out of my comfort zone versus like so many tourists and other people here looking at me if it was like sunny and beautiful. But it's a whole different perspective of just like getting off autopilot.
Forecaster.
All right, guys, if you haven't met, this is Sunny. So we just got her not too long ago, 4 or 5 months, and this is the part of the book where we're talking about memories, which Bill Perkins referred to as memory dividends. And this had tied because I just came back from the trip to Boston because it was one of my closest friends' wedding, and it really came to life because when I got there and I haven't seen, a group of friends in a while, almost 6 years now, and guess what we had talked about? The memories that we had created in the past, and it's just so powerful where everything clicks. It brought the greatest joy, laughter, and just reminiscing about the good times, right? That will never get old. And the same thing, having Sunny over here with my girlfriend, is talking about the cute thing that she does every day, or what we need to do to take care of her. These are the memories that will stay with us, and kind of seeing it not just for the financial term, because in the financial sense, when you're investing, they have this thing called compounding, right? The earlier you save your money to invest it, and the longer you keep it there, that's where it compounds and really adds up. Well, the same idea that Bill Perkins talked about in the book is the memory dividend, where those things compound as well. Like the memories I've created with my friends from high school, we're gonna talk about it when we're a lot older. Nothing's gonna change there, but we've created that memory in high school, and think about how much that's worth, right? Like with your family, with your pets, anything like that, or the trip you've taken. Those are excellent examples of what you can put in your memory dividend, and not just materialistic items like buying the newest iPhone 17, for example. Yeah, like it's cool, but it doesn't really last as long as the memories we create, right? So the idea here is to create the memories as early as possible so they become valuable as years go on. And the challenge is, what memories can you create right now, today, in order to have an effect 10 years from now, 20 years from now? So that is the challenge of part 2 here, of how we can start creating more intentional memories. So this is how Bill answers the question, is using data from the Federal Reserve or a bank like JP Morgan, because data tells everything, right? Numbers don't lie. And from the research and data saying that if you are saving money, chances are you will not run out of money, but actually you're saving way more than what is needed. So take a look at here, this chart. So this is by JP Morgan Wealth Management. As you guys can see right here, US family net worth by age, and it goes by age right here, 55 to 64, 65 to 74. But you guys can see the trend is going up, because when you are getting older, you're not going to be spending as much money as when you're a lot younger, right? Like let's say in your mid 30s, you're going to want to buy a house, a car. You might have family, kids you need to raise, whether they go to, school, or maybe they need a car if they're getting, in the driving age. But when you're older, like on the chart here, let's say 65 to 74, well, your kids are adult now, right? They have their own life. Most likely your house is paid off or close to getting paid off. You're not gonna want like the newest car. You probably have the same old car you have a little bit. So there's these statistics that generally older people don't spend as much time. Some might argue that you can travel now since you retire. Yes, they can. And a lot of people do that. However, they're not going to be backpacking Europe and all that stuff all year round, because they don't have the energy, versus like a younger person that, we all just want to travel all the time. When you're older, things can get, change, right? So that's the biggest argument out there is, people who are saving actually just save more. So Bill's main point is that we fear running out of money a lot more than actually likely to happen. People who save for the future tend to save up too much and wait until too late in their lives to spend it on fulfilling experience, if at all. And the perfect example of this is the movie Bucket List. If you haven't seen it, it's got Morgan Freeman and Jack Nicholson in it. And, you know, they end up meeting at the hospital because they had some terminal illness that is going to end their life. And they need to, you know, do all these quote unquote bucket lists before they die. But, you know, ideally, you want to do that, plan ahead, the time bucketing, creating memories, putting it all together so that way you don't have to wait till the end of your life. It's just alternative thinking than what is traditional under autopilot, where you go to school, work for, you know, 30 years, 20 years, whatever, then retire, then, you know, use that money, right? So the idea here is to do that throughout the different times of your life so that way you can really maximize and die with zero. And last thing I want to share with you, Bill Perkins actually had created an app that goes along with the book here. It's free. You can just go on it right after this video. It's diewithzerobook.com/apps. And you get the time bucketing toolkit here, or even the spend curve app. And again, as I mentioned, a lot of people work in fear. You know, this is just human nature, how we are at. So this graph and kind of gives you a concrete thing where you can actually see, play around with the numbers of, you know, when are you going to plan to retire, right? Like your current age, for example. Let's say, use my age, I'm 33. Let's say I want to retire at, I don't know, just the standard 62. And hopefully I get to live 80 or longer, but let's just leave it there. And let's see here. You can adjust based on your annual income. I'm just leaving it as is. Net worth. I mean, you can always adjust this. But again, guys, this is where you can actually play with the number and how much, you know, you're saving versus spending, and gives you an accurate number where, you know, how much you need to spend and stuff like that. So for example, let's say your monthly expenses is, 4 sounds on average, 3 to 4, maybe 5. You know, you can really play around with it, and it shows you how much you need to spend and also how much you need to be saving. But again, the older you get, what you need to understand is you're not going to be saving as much, but you actually need to ramp up your expense, which is like the opposite of, you know, what everything is. Because guys, the whole title here is How to Die with Zero, because you can't take it with you on the grave. And there's more arguments in the book where, oh, you should give it to your children and stuff like that. Well, Bill also tells us in the book that if you want to give money to your children or the kids, you should do it when they're a lot older. Because think about it, if you are in your retirement age, like 60 to 70, your kids are not kids anymore, they're adults. So they're more likely in their 40s or maybe even 50s, depending, you know, how old you are when you had them. So they're not gonna have as much usage or maximizing the money that you're gonna give them. You know, it might help them pay off their house. Yes, it's better than nothing, but imagine if you had given that to them when they were in their, you know, mid 20s or early 30s. It could have helped, you know, with a down payment or help their college debt. You know, if you truly want to set aside that money to give to your children, not just working on autopilot and, you know, having a will when you die, of course, to have that, but, you know, in order to really maximize it, that's the whole point of this book, is to be conscious of how you're using your money, and that way you don't have to worry about that when you're retiring. So guys, hopefully that was helpful. I really had fun making this video, and if you want to have suggestions in terms of the books, or if you like book reviews like this and sharing lessons that I take away from my reading, more than happy to do more, as I do love books. You guys can see right here. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button, subscribe. Catch you in the next one.